Hello, dear viewers. My name is Jibola Dabo. Keep watching Mid-Morning Show.
Better listen. Good morning to you. Welcome. This is the Mid-Morning Show, and I'm Funsho Gajobi, always delighted to be here and welcoming you once again. Hey, Tosin.
Hi, good morning.
Welcome back, or is this a short stop?
Short stop, no, don't say welcome back. Good morning and welcome to the program, the Mid-Morning Show, the Monday edition, and we're glad to be here this morning.
Indeed.
I am glad. How are you faring? I hope you are enjoying the moment. Yes, the last days in the year 2020.
That's
2020
right.
has come with a whole lot of drama, suspense, tragedy, humor,
the whole
roller
gamut.
coaster.
An entire catalogue of events.
That's right.
But then, hey, let's very quickly say compliments of the season. We should not forget to do what is customary.
Merry Christmas in
It's
advance.
Just 4 days away from Christmas.
Yeah.
And, well, so many people have almost the same conversation running, and that is that, have we seen as much of those elements that tell you that this time of the year has come again? I mean, have we seen the fancy lights? Well, I'll say yes, we have.
Even the weather.
Well,
have
the
you
weather,
seen
what do you mean?
Harmattan?
Not necessarily. I think the weather will always have some geographical explanation.
Well,
that's understandable.
but usually,
Exactly. I'm even
it's
talking.
always here around this time, the Harmattan. And stuff.
Give it another. You know, you had those emergency rains, so to speak. When you see those emergency rains, then you know Harmattan is incoming. So I think you should expect that in the next week or two. But for me, I'm even more concerned about the economic
aspect.
No, the economic tempo, the economic ambience, the economic, pulse of people. Yeah, we will not but talk about these things because you have to take stock. It doesn't matter what happened during the year. You have to actually sit back and say, okay, this is what we do at this time of every single year. We have to look back and enumerate our losses or our gains. And today, whether or not you want to celebrate, so see,
you still have to.
You have a few things to be thankful
grateful for.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
How was your weekend? What did you do?
It was
Let me
good.
start from there.
What did I do? I attended a wedding on Saturday.
Ben Timori.
Well, it was the first as an invited guest, yes. In year
were you the
2020.
MC?
No, I was just a guest.
Right.
So that was my first Owambe. But then it was cool, and then
Plenty of Owambes this month. You know
I
that,
hope
right?
people are taking precautions because COVID-19 is still very much around.
Very true words, and not to be taken lightly because we as humans, let's not always talk about Nigeria in that light. We as humans tend to, take certain things for granted, especially when you feel you have that resilience or this thing hasn't affected me since it started now.
So if it will affect me,
why should
it should have affected me. I heard someone say if COVID-19 enters my body, it will get out with immediate effect. I'm like, what do you have in your body?
No, you should have asked, what would you use to kick it out? Because
well, it sounded like...
Would you speak in tongues?
No, it sounded like COVID-19 would be scared to stay in a system.
Oh. No. That is not good advice.
Okay, talking about taking stock, like Funsho rightly said, at the end of the year, for business owners, it's expedient that you look at your gains and losses.
Oh, yeah.
What is these gains and losses saying for business owners and for Nigerians and Nigeria as a whole? We'll take a look at this and many more. But would start the conversation with our guests after this break. We'll go for a documentary on end of the year
festivities. Let's have a look at this one.
Approach of what Nigerians call the Ember Months brings mixed feelings of fear, apprehension, and joy to the hearts of men, especially in November and December. There is a sudden awakening in the minds of people that the year is coming to an end. Goals and resolutions set at the beginning of the year are suddenly given serious consideration with a desire to see them realized. So many people have the superstitious belief that the ember months are dangerous and evil months. The increase in death rate and road accidents is one of the reasons for this belief. However, the main reasons the increase in road accidents is that the first of the ember months, that is September, marks the end of the rainy season and the beginning of the dry season. During this period, there is lots of haze which limits visibility, thereby causing vehicular accident by drivers who are not careful enough when driving. The ember months coincide with the end of the year at a time where there are so many parties, celebrations, and festivals during which people give thanks to God for sparing their lives all through the year. Another characteristics of ember months or end of the year is a hike in the price of commodities. Nevertheless, a lot of people are seen in the market buying and selling goods, ranging from wares to foodstuffs and gift items. This shows that people are usually keen on making the end of the year eventful and merry. The end of the year is also a busy time for service providers like hairstylists and fashion designers who have a lot of sleepless nights in a bid to satisfy their customers. Furthermore, people travel from all over the world to see their families and friends, as the end of the year is truly a time to bond and make memories with families and friends. After a long year of separation, get-togethers are held, movies are seen, picnics are held, and stories with experiences are shared. It is a time to finally take a break from work and focus on family. While for some, the end of the year is a time to be merry, for others, it is a time to take stock, reflect on the year, and think of the good, the bad, and the ugly, hoping to make the next year a better one. Meanwhile, the Hamilton season, ever ready to host the end of the year, begins to perform its wonders on people's skin. For many, what this period takes is carrying around body lotions and lip balms to prevent chapped lips and keep the skin hydrated. Loads of water are also taken at this time to prevent dehydration. Hamilton season is a dry season, therefore people are advised to avoid burning refuse in the open, as fire could spread fast in this period, resulting in the destruction of lives and property. Not to forget, Christmas, a major event celebrated by Christians and many religious persons all over the world to mark the birth of Jesus Christ, comes up at this time. The season is known for plenty of food and drinks, decorations, exchange of gifts. Christmas time is truly a time to look forward to. Irrespective of the fact that the year comes with mixed feelings, depending on the experience of each person's, the fact remains that it is a time to be thankful and grateful to God for the year and for His gracious gifts.
Hi, my name is Dario, D1 Adine, but you can call me D1. You're watching the Mid-Morning Show on BCOS. Don't touch that dial.
All right, you're welcome back. It's still the Mid-Morning Show, and that was Myth on Ember Months. And we go straight to the business for today. Taking stock, like we mentioned earlier, and discussing this with us first. I said first because we'll be having two guests on the show this morning. But our first guest is a friend of the house. Ridwan is a social entrepreneur and a talented problem solver with a strong track record for operational efficiency and organizational management. He is the founder and executive director of Zero to One Foundation, a social venture focused on reducing unemployment in Nigeria. And is also the co-founder and CEO of Idera OS, an ecosystem e-commerce platform. I think I've said enough. He was also recognized by the Tony Elumelu Foundation as one of the top young emerging entrepreneurs in Africa in 2019. Good morning and thanks for coming.
Delighted to have you here. Good morning.
Good morning and thanks for having me today.
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Mr. Ridwan. Okay, well, so we're looking at 2020 as the most intriguing year yet.
Absolutely.
And we want to take stock. And so as a business person,
Yeah.
how much business would you say was really done in 2020?
I think you would have to answer that
Right.
after
Oh, yeah, we have
this
a
commercial break. We'll be back.
Customer, here are the tomatoes. What else shall I give you?
Add pepper and auntie, this your cough is getting out of hand now.
Take it easy with her now. But customer, this your cough. You should go to the hospital.
You know I can't go there with this cough at this time. They'll just say I have COVID-19.
Customer, every cough is different. It could be tuberculosis.
It's true, auntie. Check am, make you dey sure.
Because who no go?
No go, no.
Check that cough for tuberculosis.
If your cough is more than 2 weeks, it could be tuberculosis. TB tests and TB treatment are free. Just call the National TB Hotline on 0800-2255-282 for information on where to get the test. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Health with support from the American people.
My name is Eniola Olanio. You keep watching the Mid-Morning Show.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for staying with us. Welcome back from that short break. Mr. Ridwan Rashid is still with us. My question to you was, how much business was actually done
In the year 2020.
It's a very interesting year, and I like that question is what we're starting off today with, because this year is a very interesting year, and how much business that was done traditionally was reduced a whole lot, and we saw a shift a lot into more online business that was done. You know, we have a lot of organizations who possibly have done digital transformation and are able to cater for people, people online. You know, we have those people who are able to leverage that the occurrence of the year, COVID, the lockdown, you know, other issues that arise over the year. Those people were able to have more businesses done. However, people with traditional physical businesses had a lot of restrictions around what they do. You know, the lockdown, they couldn't open their office and then respond to customers. So that was really reduced. So the economy actually took a turn this year. It went bad for some people, especially for people that run traditional physical businesses, because COVID, as we know it, you know, it's a respiratory disease that spread due to human contact, and because we wanted to reduce that, so there was physical restrictions which affected a lot of businesses. But in terms of people who run and leverage the internet for their businesses, I think we saw a surge that we've never seen before. You know, the internet recorded so much payment transaction volume over the year. So I'll give an example. For our business, for example, that powers small businesses online, that sells online, we saw a huge surge in how much people were buying online. And then, of course, the delivery arm of our business that also deals with also delivering to the customers right on their doorstep. We also saw like a very huge increase in sales at that aspect of our businesses, of our business. But that's just for us. People who have traditional businesses, I mean, business with physical locations, saw a decline in sales, except those that were able to easily morph and pivot into better approaches for their business. Maybe, you know, decide to take orders online and then fulfill their delivery and stuff like that. So that's how much business was impacted this year. But I think that it's more of a positive because, you know, business that were fast and resilient were able to quickly adapt to the changes. And that has basically changed the essence of life, right? It happens at some point in time when, as human beings, we have to change how we do. And I think that's what this year has taught us as a whole. It's at that point where we have to start to change our business models as entrepreneurs to take advantage of more of the internet and more of what technology can enable us to do today. So, you know, for example, people now have learned that instead of going to that physical meeting, you may just request for an online meeting, and you can do it in just 30 minutes without having to commute and burn fuel or even cause traffic congestion on the road. And we've also seen that people have realized that there are a lot of things that you don't actually need in the first place. You know, for example, I'll give you an example. When COVID started, we realized that there's a unit of our business that we do not exactly need to have it in-house. We could easily outsource, right? And we had to outsource it out to a completely remote team. So, which means we're able to focus exactly on what we're able to do and outsource that entire part of the team. And that's what we've seen that businesses that are able to do well this year are able to do. They're basically able to, you know, morph and learn a lot and strategize and take advantage of the opportunity that is obvious from how bad and horrible the year.
You mentioned that
Yes.
the online business really grew.
Absolutely.
You know, this
Yeah.
COVID-19 period. It means that probably or maybe the economy of Nigeria wasn't really affected, going by the what goes around comes around syndrome.
Yeah, so I think that the economy was affected a whole lot, and we can see it. We can see it on the stock exchange. We can see it on on inflation that we've seen that skyrocketed. It was actually hugely impacted. And however, you know, when things like that happen, some people are winners, while some other people are learners, right?
Yeah.
Some other people learn. So usually, people that were able to have positioned themselves over time, or those who are able to respond too quickly and fast, were able to win. I mean, in terms of sales and how well they're able to do as businesses. But that does not take away from the fact that some people were hit really hard. Some people had to close business. Some had to follow their staff. Some had to retrench staff and a whole lot like that. So it did have a lot of issues, but it also did have some positives. That's exactly my point.
Okay, but if you were to look at Nigeria as,
Yeah.
you know, in its default state, forgive me for that reference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Prior to COVID-19,
Yeah.
we already had high rates of unemployment.
Exactly.
We had insecurities and all of that. And so would you say, when you look back, it has actually been an innovative year when you consider those ills that lie in our society? Can we now say, okay, a bit more people probably found employment?
That wouldn't be correct, that a bit more people find more employment. I don't think that, I don't have the statistics, but I don't think it's, from the data that I interact with daily, I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true because, you know, coupled with the fact that we still have students at home, you know, not doing anything, that population is also added to the unemployed population that we have in the country. So what I've seen is that people have learned that there are new job opportunities, new careers that they could pick up and learn, you know. So we have people that take advantage of that, to, you know, to learn and make themselves available for some roles. We also have organizations shift from the kind of talent they look out for, right? So
How do you mean?
So how I mean is that, you know, if it was an organization that run entirely physically, like now they're moving online, which means their demands and their needs to fulfill online orders, to market online and all of that has changed. So which means they need new hands to help them fulfill those needs. So for example, they need hands to manage their social media pages. They need hands to help them to make designs, to communicate what they're offering to their customers. They need new hands, you know, to...
You know, that's exactly what I was trying to say. Go on.
So we did have new employment opportunities open in that space. But don't also forget that some of these organizations and businesses are also following other people who they think that their skill set does not match what they need today. So we still have that population going back into the population of the unemployed or the underemployed. So it's more of a, we don't have the data, you know, but I wouldn't say we had like more employment, but what I can say authentically is that people's eyes are more now opened into other opportunities that exist aside for what they studied in school, to not take advantage of what is available today. I think that's where we see it.
All right. So, but what has the story been like, for instance, for you? Tell us, well, what stories do you have to tell?
Oh, okay, beautiful. So one of the things that we've done as an organization is, first, when we started how, we run an entirely distributed team, which means we've run remotely from day one. It was until we started to run a delivery arm of our business that we started to have spaces where people can come in and drop their item and stuff like that. So now, one of the things that happened was, when it started, it didn't really affect us because our people work entirely remotely. Somebody worked from Kano, somebody worked from Lagos, from Abeokuta, from different parts of the country. So we didn't have any to change anything. It was just normal. But in terms of what we need to change for on our end was when sales started to increase and we needed to support the sales that we're having. We decided to like make emergency preparations and do that. So that's what happened for us.
So you're one of the beneficiaries this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, talking about being a beneficiary,
Yeah.
who were your customers? Because we mentioned that a whole lot of people
Good
were
question.
dropped.
Yes.
People went back to being unemployed.
Absolutely.
Salaries were withheld.
Yes.
And a whole lot happened.
Yes.
So who were the ones coming with money?
Yeah, so the beauty is that people who ordinarily will run physical businesses, that people come to their store and buy from them, are now going online. So which means that when they sell online, they want to deliver to their customers. And then when they want to sell, they need a way to facilitate payment. They need a way to display their goods and services to their customers. So that's where our own platform comes in. You help them showcases what their goods and services. They can create their own online store from our platform. Now, when they do that and they sell, they still need to get that goods to the doorstep of the customer. That's where we stepped in, and we help them facilitate delivery. So the people who are our biggest, so what we saw was, so in terms of our projections for the customers that we're supposed to have for the year, we saw a huge rise. Even though we also saw new entrants and competitors in the market, we saw that this space was becoming really huge. But we still had our own fair share of each customer rise. But the point is that what we thought we could have taken us like 2-3 years to achieve, we're able to do in just 1 year. Because people we think would have educated, spent time educating before, now had to embrace, because now this is the only option they have to continue to be in business. And for us, apart from the fact that it was profit, like we had some sales from it, it was also like beautiful to be able to help businesses transform online, because it has more huge impact. Because remember that these people are families, right? When they're able to stay in business, it means that they can continue to take care of themselves, and of course maybe also hire more people. So which means we're helping them keep other people in business. We're helping them even keep sort of income coming in. And of course, customers who want to buy stuff, who wants day-to-day activity, groceries, whatever they want to get online, right? We're able to also help them fulfill those needs. So apart from the sales part also, it also helps us like fulfill that impact part that, we're actually changing somebody's life.
All right, still speaking on businesses, because I know quite a number of people with different engagements.
Absolutely.
Business-wise.
Yeah.
For instance, people who import items.
Yes.
For people
Yes.
to sell, there are people who have taken that as a trade.
Yeah.
They take orders and
Absolutely.
then they forward it to some country and then they wait
Yeah.
for their stock to deliver. Now, what we hear is that some of such stock got stuck in places.
Yes.
Stock being UCK this time,
Yes.
not the stock. And then the prices of some of those items also had to go up as a result of now, it's harder to get some of these things.
Yes.
Can you talk to us about some of all that and the dynamics?
Yeah, absolutely. I could give some perspective on it a little bit. So usually, when COVID came, like some specific items, their demand actually increased a lot, right? So people had to, we saw the way where people were fighting about toilet rolls. It was absurd, But the point is that a lot of household items, groceries, and some very particular items, the demand actually went up. So now, especially for those of them that were imported, we now have to import some of these things. And then some of these countries may not have enough productions to service those needs. So which means what you normally get, like say in 7 days, 21 days, you now have to wait longer to get it. That's one aspect of it. Another aspect is that some of these countries already have restrictions, like full restrictions on COVID-19, so which possibly slow down production, and of course maybe shipment are even being held. So these are ways in which that's what happened. So the little goods that are now in circulation because of demand and supply, right? Supply is now more than demand. We now had to like increase the price just so they could get the best, the best they could get from selling those items. So that's actually what happened around those times. And I think that it's just something that as a society that we need to plan for and prepare ahead. Sadly, we still have the second wave of COVID. We don't know how long this is going to be for. So I think as stakeholders in this, for government, for people as business owners, and for everybody that does contribute to the economy, we need to think about this. If there are things that we cannot provide ourselves, we need to look at how can we get these things, even if this gets like intense or bizarre. How can we get this in supply to ensure that we don't actually have to affect the people because we don't have enough in supply and then we want to sell to the highest bidder.
Okay, go for Vox Pop now on how prepared are you for the festive period. And when we come back, we'll continue our discussion with Mr. Ridwan Rashid.
Not really prepared though, as far there's no money in town and all, but we are trusting God on it. We're trusting God.
If when we say to yes, very good, God say no. When we look unto Jesus, He's the one make it to be better. We prepare in our mind that it be better. So,
let put it in God's hand. No one can predict what is going to happen. My preparation for this year, of course, I have to cut my coat according to the available material. So I'm preparing with the amount of money I have with me, so that I can be able to be happy with my family and my neighborhood and my friends and the rest of the people around me. So that when I'm happy, other people will be happy. So it won't be only me.
preparation is in God's hand. We've tried our best, and we trust God for the best, that we have a fruitful festive season and a pleasant one. So we trust God for a fruitful one and a better one than the years in the past.
Well, we are, trying to prepare for the festive period. We all know the economic situation in the country. The country has been plagued by recession, and this is having serious impact on individuals. But we are trying. We are trying to prepare for the festive period. By meeting our basic family needs and addressing, our core expectations.
For the festive period, yes, we are preparing. We are preparing, like in my community in Aberdina here. Every year in December, we have a kind of praise concert that we do, and we're already preparing for it for this Saturday to thank God for the whole year, to appreciate God at least for keeping us alive. Many people have died in this year, but we are still alive. So, preparing by the grace of God, at least we have good health. That is enough reason to celebrate. So I'm preparing by the grace of God. I trust God that we'll have enough resources to celebrate.
As usual, I've been celebrating it for over 60 years now. So
We're just going with the flow, no? We're going anyhow it goes, and we shall celebrate. Main point.
thank God we've seen it. If we can satisfy our children, I think we're okay. And by God's grace, I think it will be okay. We don't pray for anything like chaos in the country, but the festive spirit, even if we're not too prepared, God is preparing for us. I think with His grace, we're sufficient.
This is a marketplace. We've come to buy some things in preparation for the Christmas.
I'm preparing. We just have to do the Christmas anyhow as it comes.
Okay, a whole lot of respondents bearing their minds about how prepared they are for the festive period, but nobody asked me, excuse me, I have not prepared at all. No Christmas dress, no Christmas shoe, nothing.
Don't worry, you get your chance when the mic is placed on you.
Oh well. Okay, we still have in the studio Mr. Rashid, Mr. Ridwan Rashid, and instead of asking him if he is prepared for the festive period, I would want to ask if you are prepared for the second wave of COVID-19. Seems even Nigeria, I'm not sure we know what to do yet compared to other countries.
Thank you so much for that question. So even if we didn't have second wave of COVID-19, what we saw that we possibly will not go back to how we usually are as a people, as a country, because we have this new normal, which is basically like a change from what we used to have before. So it's more about an economic power with technology, and we're trying as much as our best to build infrastructures in place to get the best out of this new opportunity that we see. Although it brings out a lot of other problems or challenges that we have to fix as a business and as a people. But I think we're very prepared with our team, with our leadership, to ensure that as much as possible we do our own quota, just help make things a little bit better and easier for people.
How prepared is Nigeria?
I really think that Nigeria isn't prepared at all. So that's not that, and we can even see it. you know. Usually, the people that get hit a lot by COVID, that affect a lot, are people with very small businesses. I mean, petty traders, right? And we've not really seen enough in terms of how to support them. I'll give you instances. So COVID started, I think started heavily in April or May, and we didn't get interventions until late September, if I'm correct. Even this intervention is just the application stage that they still have. We don't even have people start to receive any of the grants that we've seen the federal government talk about. And of course, state government have not even done a lot in this aspect also. We need to support as much as possible these people, and there has to be like three approaches. The first is we have to do a lot in terms of education. You know, so they have to understand and learn that, you know, the way you do business today may not exactly be the way you do it. The way you do it yesterday may not be exactly the way you do it now in the future. You have to change. And what are the information you need to get equipped with to adapt to these changes? There are things that we need to do for them. We've seen individual organizations do this a lot. You know, I did do some of this. I did do some trainings with Facebook around this for some women businesses over just this year alone. And what we saw was that when these people started to have this information, they started to change a lot about their business. So as simple technology as WhatsApp, as Facebook, as Instagram, they're able to learn how to use this to boost their businesses, and they're doing incredibly well. Imagine if we were able to do this on a bigger scale, supported by the government, by a lot of stakeholders. It means that no matter how small the business is, they can still be sure that they will still be in business, serving their customers the way their customer actually wants. Because the best about serving the customer's need, and customer needs are changing. I don't want to walk into a supermarket and get COVID. I like to order online. That's my need changing. So if my customer, if the business that is serving me is able to change to my need, then I'm going to continue to serve that business, right? I'm going to continue to buy from them, and that's exactly what we need to teach business that we have outside. You know, whether they're artisans, whether they're traders, whether they are petty traders, whatever they do, we need to let them understand this. Second part is we need to support them, because this transformation takes a lot of investment, and I think it's something that we have to do as a country. So we have to support actively these people. They don't want under. What they basically want is loan and financing that is, that is compassionate enough to help them expand, and not just the loan alone, also the support from the government. So I think afterwards that the next part I want to talk about is also stakeholders also. You know, best to do this phenomenon, having to have a show like this, talking about things that could benefit people. Individually, we have to use our own space to talk about this more and let people understand. Right, this is something that's come to stay. We need to look at how we can adapt to this and make the best out of it.
Okay, but what would you be saying to people like event planners who, in between that period, it was a lull, more or less? I mean, you can't have... Some people were actually having online events.
Absolutely, yeah.
Online weddings.
Weddings and the likes of that.
Absolutely.
But that's taking the production cost out of it all, isn't it? I mean, for those who would supply, the different vendors who would ordinarily have to supply their items physically.
Yes.
I mean, no businesses for them. But the good thing is that those lockdowns didn't run throughout the year. And so can we say they are bouncing back at this point in time?
Well, we don't know how long this is going to be for, but I think it's safe to expect the worst and plan for the worst, so that at least even if it's not up to that, we are already well prepared for it. So people with businesses that are hit hard by COVID-19, the first thing that we have to ask ourselves, you know, is that how can we adapt our business model to suit this new terrain that we are. It's called business resilience, right? You adapt to what the economy is saying, what the country is saying, what society is saying at that point in time. The second part is if there is no way you can respond to it, you know, are there other alternatives or verticals that we can explore as a business also? That's something we can also do. I'll give you some tangible examples from big brands that we can relate with. So there's a particular brand in Lagos that runs hotels, right? And when COVID-19 started, and there was no way, nobody was coming to get rooms in the hotel again. So because it was lockdown, so they decided to explore other other verticals, you know, of their industry. So they decided to go into laundry. Come, bring your laundry, bring your exotic suit and stuff. We're going to launder. Now you're at home, but you don't want to wash. You know, just send them down to us. We're going to get it done and send back to you. They explore take-home meals, like food delivery and more like that. So we don't usually know how much of what we can do until we try to do them. you know, and that's what business has to understand. The fact that you are a master of this does not mean that's what you have to continue to do forever. If the economy is changing, the society is changing, you can also ask yourself, what is the new customer need? What do they now need? How can we serve this need? And that's exactly where they should try to position themselves.
Okay, absolutely.
All right, we're still having Ridwan Rashid, the founder and executive director of 0 to 1 Foundation, and the co-founder and COO of Idera OS, an ecosystem, an e-commerce platform. Last words for business owners before we wrap it up.
Before we wrap up. So I think it's I'm just basically going to summarize everything we've discussed so far, just about the year. I think that, you know, as human beings, as humans, we've lived for a long time. But there are particular times in history where we've had to change the way we do things. I'll give you an example. So during some period, we needed to refrigerate and ice things. At that point in time, people would store ice in buckets to refrigerate and cool things. At some point, there was ice factories where because ice could go anytime, it could melt. We need to be able to keep this ice for long. So we started to have ice factory where we keep ice and then ensure that it don't melt there. And at some point again, we started to have, you know, ice coolers, something very small. That was the first situation of refrigerators where we could keep ice inside. And at some point, we started to build a machine that does not even keep ice again, but can manufacture ice itself. So at those points in history, we've had to actually turn the innovation curve and change the way we do things. And usually during those periods, it wasn't just reluctantly that we did these things. It was actually the need of people that made us do this at those period of time. So when 2020 came, it was also another period of time that we have to also think about what next can we do as a people. How else can we address this need that we have? Imagine if there wasn't opportunity to have like online video conferencing and video event. It means that we'll not be able to have, you know, virtual events and all of those things. But when it came down, we have this opportunity, and when people have already built this platform already, they were able to key into these opportunities as a people. The same thing we have to look at, you know, we have to ask ourselves, what is 2020 teaching us? Because if we do not ask ourselves, we may not exactly learn what 2020 is teaching us. And so that's what we have to basically do as business owners. Ask ourselves, what can we learn from this year? You know, how can we learn more about our customers' need? How can we better position ourselves, you know, to serve their today needs and their tomorrow needs? And how can we get better positioned? And I think if we as business owners can do this, I think we'll be properly positioned to get the best out of whatever happens, even as COVID continues.
Well, Mr. Ridwan Rashid, it was really nice having you
Thank
on
you so
the
much.
program today. We'd like to say thank you for coming.
Yeah, it's a pleasure being here today. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, stay with us on the Mid-Morning Show. We'll be back.